So don't you hurt me, Campbell! And not in the first at Highbury. At Arsenal, me and Lee Dixon always used to go out to warm up first. So as we're walking, Clough is in the hallway, rolling. This is a fart. So as I'm coming out, bouncing the ball, you can hear the studs. Campbell! Campbell, don't you hurt me, son. Don't you get hurt me. So I said, hi, Mr. Clough, how are you? You know, Campbell, don't you hurt me. Make sure you don't hurt me. So he pulled me and he said, don't you hurt me. Whispered in my ear. So I said, okay, Mr. Clough. So as I've turned and I'm walking out the corridor, fucking whacked me in the car. So I've gone, what the fuck? What's going on? Lee Dixon, can you imagine fucking pissing himself, love? So what'd you do that for? I told you, don't you hurt me. Don't you? I said, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm on the bench. And the 0-0 at half time, Clough is still saying, Campbell, don't get hurt me. Going up the tunnel, gets him to come out. Anyway, 20 minutes to go. Careful, go and warm up, 0-0. Clough gets him, don't you hurt me, Campbell! Anyway, we make a substitution, I get on the pitch. Within 5 minutes, I go through, shoot, Mark Crossley saves it, Ian Wright puts the rebound in, Clough is jumping on the side. Campbell! Don't you hurt me! I'm there pissing myself laughing. Game finishes, we win the game 2-0, so we're shaking hands on the pitch. And I totally forgot about Cloughy, so I'm walking up at Highbury, I'm walking up towards the corridor for the dressing room, and all I could see was this eye through the crack of the door looking at me. So as he seen me, he's ripped the door open, and he looked at me and went, I told you, don't fucking hurt me, Campbell. I said, Mr. Clough, it's my job. I'm supposed to try and beat you. So he said, come here. So he kissed me on both cheeks and whispered in my ear, I obviously didn't kick you fucking hard.
He was, despite some of the achievements of the managers that got us into the Premier League, he was, for me, the easiest, the most enjoyable manager of a difficult experience of owning a football club that I had 10 years. He's crafty bugger. Every chairman he's worked for is the best chairman he's ever had. Well, we got knocked out in the playoff semi-finals. We couldn't believe we'd got knocked out. We were so dominant in that period of time that we didn't believe that Bristol City would beat us, and we did. And we were brilliant. I was so pleased with where we'd got to. Obviously disappointed about losing the semi-finals and playoffs. Went to see Neil and said to him, we're going all right. And he said, right. He said, as I said earlier on, do you think I'm best manager in the league, chairman? I do. I very much do. He said, well, why is Dave Jones at Wolves getting 300 grand more than I am? I said, well, I guess he's not anymore, is he? And, oh, Sharon, this is his wife, you'll never guess what chairman's done. He's only given us pay rise. And I remember going back to the finance director and going, you remember I talked to you about cutting budgets and reducing salaries and cutting our cloth? I've just given the manager a 40% pay rise. That's the end of the discussion. But I didn't mind because he was worth it. He was worth it.
And so you upped his wage there and then by 300 grand?
I did, yeah. Crafty bugger manipulated me into a corner. With the old, you're the best chairman at the league, chairman. You really are.
You've got to fucking die to get 3 points!
Why do you need Zidane when you've got Tim Sherwood now? After the 94-95 when we won the Premier League, obviously you can attract bigger players. So I remember in pre-season, Christophe Dugarry and Zinedine Zidane come to the training ground. The players saw him there, and they were speaking to Jack Walker and Robert Corr, who was our chairman, about joining the football club. And
they were both at Bordeaux at the time, Tim, weren't they?
Yeah. But it never materialised, and it didn't come off. And I remember it was quite embarrassing. Well, it's certainly embarrassing for me now, because Jack Walker's famous quote is, "Why do you need Zidane when you've got Tim Sherwood now?" Listen, I mean, there's loyalty and loyalty. I was like, thanks for that, Jack, but come on, mate. I mean, he wasn't the player that he turned out to be at the time, but no, it would have been great to have them too.
He was 23 though. We figured out Zidane was 23 at the time.
Yeah, he was a late start.
We started the game and there was a guy next to the dugout, big West Ham fan, and he started after about 2 minutes. Harry said, we ain't got that Lee Chapman up front again this year. We ain't going to get a decent striker. He kept on about Chapman all first half. He wouldn't leave me alone. What's he doing, Harry? He's useless. Why are you playing him again? Anyway, half time I made 5 substitutions and put the subs on. It was a friendly game. Got no more subs. After 2 minutes we get an injury, so now I've only got 10 men. So I turned to him, he's still shouting at me. I went, oi, I said, can you play as good as you talk? He said, I'm better than that Chapman. I went, come on then, get your gear on, we'll have a look at you. I said, you're playing? He said, who for? I said, well, West Ham. He said, I ain't got any boots. I said, what size are you? He said, 9s. I said to Eddie, the kit man, Eddie, get him a pair of boots. takes him up the changing room. He gets changed. He comes waddling back. He's coming on. He said, where do you want me to play? I said, go up front. I said, I want to see you better than Lee Chapman.
Yeah.
So he's gone on. The guy comes down, true story, from the tannoy system, the assistant, comes down. He wants to announce on the tannoy who's coming on, so the people know who's on. He said, Harry, who's the sub? Who's number 16? I said, who's number 16? I said, ain't you been watching the World Cup? Chichi Shayev, the Bulgarian striker. He went, oh, I thought it was him. And he came on, played up front. He came on, played up front, scored a goal. And I've got to be honest, on the night, he was better than Chapman.
Don't tell Jose, will you?
No.
When I was at Crystal Palace, I remember the two coaches pulling up, and the lad said to me, what you want to... I said, chuck a bucket of cold water on their dressing room floor. I said, what do you mean? Well, that was Jose. It was Jose. It was Jose. Chuck a bucket of cold water on the floor, and then... can you imagine? All the staff coming and looking at the floor and that, and then I took him, he come in my little office at Crystal Palace, the Jose, for a cup of tea. Never said anything about it.
Never said, now you see.
I said, because I said to the boy, can you imagine all them multi-millionaires will have their feet wet now, they'll be moaning.
In the winter time, in Selhurst Park. Oh my God.
I know.
Oh
so
my
it
God.
was a good time. But...
Well, when I was still playing part-time, it was my pride and joy as well. Renault Clio, blue, best car of my life. Needed taxing and MOT and I couldn't afford it at the time, so I went down to my local. The landlord said I can get it MOT'd for free. So I was buzzing. Leave it outside, it'll be fine. So I parked this nice Clio outside the front of the pub. Went back a week later, still wasn't MOT'd, a few tickets on there. Got myself a pint, looked out the window, they put another tax ticket on it. Ended up just leaving it, got towed away and ended up in the impound. The thing that made it worse was I had a private reg on it as well. What was VODs.
Going back to London without your shoes and your watch thing. I think first agent that came, Kingsley Black. This agent come and he were about 20 stone. Right, Kingsley came to sign with his agent, and they've got into his office, and Clough has said to Kingsley, would you mind telling the fat to wait outside? So he's gone out of the room, and Clough has gone to Kingsley Black. They're a lovely pair of shoes, son. What size are they? Let me try them on. Kingsley stuck his shoes off, and Clough is trying them on. And he's treading fucking backs down and walking around the room in these size 7. He's gone, no. But that's a lovely watch you've got on, let me try that, son. So apparently Kingsley takes his watch off and he hands it over to him. He tries it on. Like the watch, I like the watch, but I don't like the fucking shoes. Right, so the kids come to sign a contract. So Clough gets the watch, stuffs it in his shoes, walks over to the filing cabinet and puts his shoes in the filing cabinet and locks it. He said, go and tell the fat bastard you're going to sign the contract, otherwise you're going back to London without your shoes and your watch thing.